showing here is different types of cropping and management systems for farming. So here we have more of a conventional system where there is very little cover except for weeds on the soil. Here we have a no-till system where there's very high corn and crop residue, but there's no growing cover. Here we have a living cover crop of winter rye, so that protects the soil over the winter as well as in the spring where we often have our heaviest rainfalls. And here we have lush, beautiful pasture, which represents exactly what we have all around us. And what we believe this will demonstrate as we turn on this rainfall simulator is that we have much higher erosion when our fields and when our crops are not protected. When we have good managed grazing systems, our streams are protected and our soils stay in place. So once we turn on the simulator, it'll demonstrate how much runoff is occurring in each of these different cropping systems. And you can tell by the dark, muddy water how much erosion is actually occurring. This is what we would call a typical conventional type of cropping system. Not a lot of cover this time of year. The only cover is actually a little bit of weeds. So you run into that quite a bit if it's a late spring like it has been. There's no living cover here, but this would be a cropping system that has gotten quite popular and is effective. It would be a conventional no-till system. So there is a input of herbicides used, but we do have cover. We have a lot of corn stalks. Farmers are trying it, experimenting with using a winter rye cover crop. What that's going to do is keep our soil protected both in the fall as well as the spring. And those are the times of year that our soils are most sensitive. We see the highest amounts of erosion. From Bruce's management of managed grazing, how we get a wide diversity of vegetation and a lot of soil cover and protection. But essentially we will see our, let's see, our dirty water here and our clean water in these back buckets. Remember, wherever we get the most water coming from, that means we had the most runoff. Wherever we have the least water filling these buckets, that means it's soaked into the soil. It's been there to help recharge our trout streams, recharge our groundwater. So that's really our choice with land management, right? Can we farm economically and profitably in a way that keeps the water on the landscape so it's benefiting our trout populations and habitat? Or do we just let it all fly? Any of these cropping systems, if you do not maintain your grass waterways in your areas where runoff really concentrates, again, that would blow all of this out of the water, well, blow it out of the field as well. But I think what we're also clearly seeing is that managed grazing and trout fishing are very, very compatible, right? It's lovely. The weeds are kept down. We can easily walk around here. So for a lot of aesthetic reasons, but really for a lot of environmental reasons and for protecting our trout stream fisheries, we're big advocates of managed grazing along trout systems. We thank Bruce for his management, Dave Vetrano for his work combining those two worlds. We would like to introduce our farmers of the Tainer Watershed Group.
My name is Bruce Risto, and my wife and I own this farm. And this is part of the Tainer Creek Watershed, which is over 30,000 acres that drain into this creek. After the 2016 flood, Valley Stewardship Network went around and organized, talked to farmers, asked them if they'd be interested in meeting and forming a group to work on ways to help with the runoff. That group was able to apply for and received a $30,000 grant from DACCAP to work on ways to publicize the water quality and to work on ways to improve like cover crops and seminars in the Chainer Creek watershed. This is our first field event. And we always tell people, my wife and I, by coming here, you made our place more valuable. We love to share it. And this is very heartwarming to see all the people and all the little kids coming for this event. So thank you very much for coming and being a part of the watershed and what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm Grant Rudrud, and I want to say the same as Jeff here. Thanks to Bruce for hosting this event, and it's good to see on a good turnout. We're Jeff and I are on kind of the upper end of this watershed, and what we do up there affects the quality of the water net down here. So we just want people to know that we're trying to do our best up there too, with cover crops, waterways, and with Ben Woyan's help from the Conservation Department, it helps a lot. Ben has a lot to do with how good the conservation is in Vernon County.
My name is Josh Engel. I'd like to start with thanking all the many volunteers that helped today to make this event happen. It's really great to see the turnout here. And my brother Noah and I farm produce in the valley, up and down the valley here. So, and we've lived here our whole lives, and it's interesting to see how this has developed. And this especially Bruce's, what he's done with this property here is really, really neat.
My name is Duke Welter. I'm not a farmer, but I sure love hanging out with farmers. This council is just a great group to work with. I come to it as a member of Cooley Region chapter at Trout Unlimited, and as a person that works with Trout Unlimited's driftless area restoration effort. And with Jeff Hastings and Paul Cron and a lot of volunteers, we work on organizing and developing projects with groups all over the driftless area. But one of my favorite places is Chainer Creek. And one of the things that this piece of property shows us is what healthy grazing lands and what healthy fisheries we can have in the same places. And that gives us a lesson that we can take to other parts of Chainer Creek and say, and work with landowners on opportunities to do more restoration on more ag working lands. How communities can unite around a watershed. And that's one of the really neat things about life in this part of the world. I'm just gratified to see everybody here and gratified at how people have worked so beautifully together.